Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Venue Coach. In today's episode, I wanted to talk more about the recent training that I did in person at a client's venue, and it's just top of mind. And so I thought I'd share some of the experiences from that 2 day training, and hopefully that I hope that there's lessons that can be learned and shared across the internet, so that I can expand the teaching or the learning possibilities here. So, anyways, without further ado, I'm just going to dive in on this one. A lot of questions that came to me from the staff, and especially those doing tours at the venue, was how do we close and get the sale, right? Obviously, that's the big deal. And for this particular client, they were converting about 12% of all of their tours coming in. And so not like way under the bar of what what might be normal for wedding venues, not necessarily good, but normal. And so typically I see venues that are doing about 20 to 40% is pretty normal. But all of anything under 50%, in my opinion, is below the bar and below benchmark and could be improved. But they were at 12%, so significantly under the benchmark. So obviously they wanted to learn how to sell better. And that was where I spent the most of the time with them. On the second day, we spent 13 hours just going over how to sell, and particularly how to close, because it doesn't matter how good you are at doing everything else if you can't close the deal. And their particular problem, like many venue owners that I encounter, is being too timid around asking for the sale. So they will do everything up until that point, but then back off. And my favorite line that most everybody says is, well, if you have any questions, just let me know. And then they let them walk out the door and they never see them again. So let's stop that. And a really good way to just boost your sales is to, instead of saying that, say, so, are you guys ready to book today, or what are you thinking? Just something as simple as that. Are you ready to book? Sounds like this is a good fit. Are you guys ready to make a decision? And the point of sales, especially for us, we're helping them make the decision. They've already decided to book a venue, and so they're not there just to, like most people, aren't there just to see what's up. They are there because they are ready to make a decision once they find the place that's right for them. Meaning that they are willing to spend the money, and you just have to convince them to spend it with you instead of your competitor down the street. So, are you going to get their money if you don't ask for their money? Sometimes, about 12% of the time, 12 to 20% of the time, you'll get their money. But if you don't ask them, then that's about all you're going to be able to do. Now, there are ways to ask, and there are better, like, continuation along the line of closing. It's not just you ask once and then back off. I mentioned in the previous episode that we have date hold deposits that we then roll into, and then we always try to set clear expectations for what the next step is. So if we can get them to book on the spot, awesome. And if we can't, then we shoot for the date hold deposit, and that's a 7-day date hold deposit. And I've talked about this before in the podcast, but basically it's a small fee to hold the date so nobody else can book it for 7 days while they weigh their options and think about what they want to do. And then if they don't want to book with you, you give them the money back. If they do, then it's just part of their total deposit owed. So it's a win-win, stress-free solution for those who are on the fence. And it gets them coming back to you to get their money back instead of you continually having to chase them. And we have seen that of the date hold deposits, about 80% of them that do it will continue to book. So it's actually a high converting, high indicator of intent, and you absolutely should offer it because it gets more, it gets the people that are on the fence, and it convert really well. Anyways, this episode isn't about the date hold deposit, but it's about offering the date hold deposit. So you ask for the sale. Hey, this seems like a great fit. We checked off all the boxes that you mentioned. Are you guys ready to book? Oh no, we're not. Oh, okay. Was there something that we missed or that you're looking for that maybe we didn't cover? And that gives you the opportunity to go over anything that you didn't cover, and they just may not know it because you didn't go over it. So you want to make sure your tours are tailored to them so you can get rid of most of those things along the way. But there's still some things that they may just want or need and haven't expressed, and it's a little bit different than everybody else. And so it gives you the opportunity to ask for that. And then they say, oh, no, it's blah, blah, blah. We still want to look at two more just to weigh our options, or whatever. We need to have this conversation. And it's all fine. Then you say, okay, totally understand that this is a big decision, and we want to make sure that you're making the right decision for you. Now, I know that this was like obviously we're in and make the assumption. Obviously, we're in one of the top contenders. Or am I? Or do you hate me? Never want to see me again, and my breath stinks. Put in some humor in there, make some jokes, and it doesn't have to be this stiff interaction. Just lighten up, lighten up. So you throw in a couple of jokes. Self-deprecating humor is always great, and then get them to confirm that you guys are one of the top contenders, and then from there you say, okay, well here's what we got. Like, love, we want to work with you. We love that we're in the top contenders. Let's let's lock in that date for the next 7 days so that you can have the time to think or look at the other tours or do the other tours or whatever, and you can know that that date isn't going to get booked during that time. And so let's take a little bit of that stress off your plate. And if you decide to book, great. It'll just be part of the regular deposit. And if you don't, then we'll give you your money back. So it's a win-win. And then boom, you get them. Then if they still decline on that, like some couples are flexible and they don't really care about the date and they're whatever, then you just say, okay, no problem at all. When are you trying to make a decision by? And that gives you a clear expectation. So if they're saying, oh, within the week, then you can contact them a bit more frequently. If they say later, like a month or two, then you know to reach out every week or every 2 weeks and to just stay top of mind. But you always set the expectation of the follow up when that happens. So if it's next week, okay, great. Well, I'm going to reach out to you right away. I'm going to also send you some. I might follow up with you in the meantime with just some helpful stuff that other brides have found useful, and then I'll reach back out to you at the end of the week and see where we're at with the decision. Cool. And you could even set like, oh, I'll just call you Friday afternoon. Okay, no problem. Or if it's in a month or two, okay, well, I will check in with you in about 3 weeks and see where you guys are at, and this, that, and the other. So always set the expectation for the follow up so they are not surprised by it or whatever. But you're saying, hey, I'm going to reach out to you again, and then they agree to it. And then even if you don't get a hold of them, at least you've set that. So that's kind of the process that's not kind of, that's the process that we go through when we're trying to get the sale. And by doing that, we actually get 50% of all of our bookings happen on the same day of the tour. Most of them on the spot, like at the venue, and a good percentage of them happen like later that evening. They call in a book. That's 50%. Then the other 50% are like the majority of our sales or the average time to book is 7 days. From tour to booking is 7 days, but 50% of all of our bookings happen on the first day. And so then obviously we have some big outliers. We've had some that's booked like 9 months later, which is awesome, but those are few and far between. Typically they're within a week or two. And so that's real data, and it gives you a good idea of what to expect. So if it's over a month, you're probably not going to get them to book. Probably. It's not impossible. It's not to say that it doesn't happen, but there are fewer opportunities for that. And so the time to strike, now obviously if they say we're making a decision next month, then sure, they're going to be one of those. But most people are trying to make a decision in the next 2 weeks. Like that's their decision turnaround time. It's 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to do this. So if you start off and don't even ask for the sale, you're already late. Let me say that again. If you don't ask for the sale during the tour, you're already late. Because the next tour that they go to, that venue is going to ask for the sale. And 50% of the time, they're going to book with that venue. Think about that. If they're a good venue, 50% of the time, they're going to book with the venue that asks them for the sale. It's incredible. So, knowing that, you should ask for the sale and be okay with them saying no. It's not a big deal. So, anyways, I wanted to share that. And I hope that this was useful for you. I know that so many venue owners out there are just afraid to ask that question. Get over it. Get over it. Ask the question. You'll be all right. And if they say no, there'll be another one that will say yes. So, anyways, if you found this useful, please subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one. I'll see you there.